Hi guys, before we start this podcast episode, I just want to let you guys know that I filmed this podcast episode outside on a very windy day. You can still hear me, but you can definitely still hear the wind in the background, and I do apologize for that, but this is a really good podcast episode that I did film for you guys, and I just think you guys would really like this episode. And for this podcast episode, I suggest you guys watch the video version because it's a lot more fun. Anyways, let's carry on. We're outside. Anyways, welcome back to another podcast episode, your go-to, your comfort person, your host, Anna Pedron. We are outside with Mother Nature right now. I did a podcast episode like this last year, if you guys are on the video version right now, if you're watching, but I deleted that. And the reason why? Let me tell you, I just thought it wasn't good enough, so I deleted it. And now here we are, a year later, back at the same spot. And if you're wondering why we are here, it's because it is my birthday. It's my birthday, I can cry if I want to. I hope you guys can hear me. I don't want to be too loud, but I also don't want to be too quiet, but I hope this is like the good amount of volume that I can talk to you guys at. Everywhere I look, there's people, and to my right, there's a lot of people walking towards this way, and they could probably see me filming, and they probably think, what is she doing? I'm just gonna try and get over my fear with that, especially having a whole ass setup with my podcast right now. Doing this podcast episode is something that like I've always wanted to do, just doing it outside, but I really never got the chance to, and I just thought I have to face my fears some way. One way or another. I want to do this podcast episode dedicated to just growing up and getting older and loving myself for who I am. I don't know. Getting older is unexplainable for me, but I'm just going to talk about it and chat with you guys because I thought you guys probably will relate to some things I say and maybe not, and that's okay. You know, this podcast is not for everybody, but I know you guys in the comments section, you guys are always saying, what the fuck? Hold up. Okay, there are so many flies like above my head right now, and it's not because I'm stinky, but I think it's the fact that like I had a massage earlier this morning, so I think they're attracted to the essential oil, I assume. Sorry, I had to stop recording for a bit because I think there was someone listening to what I was saying. Maybe that's just me also getting into my head. Like, I'm alone right now. Like, I'm okay. This was supposed to be a day of me just relaxing and spending time alone, doing a little solo date by myself. But here I am, a little anxious. And there's so much going on in the background. I'm so sorry if you guys hear like any background noise right now. Okay, it's a rush hour right now, so this is why everyone's coming home. Okay, anyways, we're gonna do this. We're doing this. I don't know what I was saying, but I also got this book at the bookstore because I treated myself with 4 new books. This one's called Hello Higher Self. If you're not watching the video version right now, I suggest you do because I feel like we're hanging out right now. And even though I'm just talking to a camera, it doesn't feel like that because I know there's people like you watching and this is like a little picnic date. But I wanted to bring this book along with me while I had my little picnic. This is not a picnic. I don't even have food with me except for crumble cookies. Ew. Okay, one thing about me, I don't like bugs, but I like being out in nature. And this is not a vibe. Get these bugs away from me. It sounds like I'm a city girl, and I kind of am. But like at the same time, I love being around nature. Anyone else agree? I'm going to give you guys a little story time because when I was at the bookstore, I randomly picked up this book and wanted to read a random page in it. And then little did you know, I literally start tearing up because there was just a part in there that was like very personal. And I don't know if it was just the higher source or what telling me to read that part, but it got to me. And it just like made me think about like where I am, what I'm doing, and how silly this little life is. Sorry if I didn't give you guys like a huge introduction. I kind of just like am going with this episode. And usually when I film podcast episodes, I have like some podcast points of what I'm gonna say because I don't want to forget anything, especially like important points that I want to talk about. But for this episode, I'm just gonna wing it. tell you guys what's on my mind, because this is literally what my podcast is. This is just going to be more of a girly chat episode and just a reflection episode as well. Anyways, I had a pretty fun, but also it was just a go-go kind of day where I went to the gym earlier this morning. After that, I went for brunch with my parents. I wanted to meet up with them because, we're going to get into this. We're going to get into like me getting close with my parents now, because it has literally been a 180 with them, with me and my parents' relationship. So we're going to get into that as well. But I had breakfast with them. It was just an experience that I'm just having now with my parents as I'm growing up and getting older, because this has something I've never really thought that I would ever come down to, is by like wanting to be hanging out with them on my birthday, because the last thing I would ever want to do is be around them, and that was like my 16-year-old self. But here we are at 26 years old, wanting the opposite of that. It feels good. Like, I'm proud of myself for that. And then after that, I went to the bookstore. Already told you guys what went on there, but I didn't expect to be buying 4 different types of books. Like, they're literally all different books. Like, one is physiology. I don't know, but it's clearly about stoicism. So this one was more of like a self-help book, The Hello Higher Self, An Outsider's Guide to Loving Yourself in a Tough World by Bunny Michael. And then the other ones I got were like those crime scene books. And I like those because I actually get into reading them. One other one was like a little love story, reading by the beach type of vibe. After the bookstore, I booked myself a massage. It was a deep tissue massage. I definitely needed that. And it's something that I want to do regularly, but shit's expensive. After the massage, went back home, quickly changed into something different, bought myself some flowers, went to crumble cookies. Now here we are. And who's to say that doing things alone or spending time alone on your birthday is lame? As I'm getting older, this is all I could ever ask for. And then eventually later on today or like the next day, I would spend it with my family, friends, and just like whoever I care for and love and all that. But right now is my time to just really take it all in and reflect. So I did some journaling. I didn't journal too much because I knew that I wanted to spew all my thoughts and emotions onto this podcast. I'm excited to like look at this a year later and see what I've said. And then I'll be like, wow, that was so stupid. Why'd you do that? Just kidding. No, I feel like every podcast episode of me just getting older with these birthday episodes, I will just get wiser and wiser and just love myself more and more. It has always been a struggle for me to just love myself for who I am. Do you guys hear that? There's someone playing Nerf War 10 feet away from me. So before I start talking about other stuff and ramble on, why not give you guys a little taste test? Hold on, I think I need to put a clip on. We have 2 different types of flavors. So we have strawberry shortcake. Please watch the video version of this podcast because, ew, there's a bug. This one is like a birthday batter. Oh no, the flies are coming back too. This is so hectic. I'm so stressed. Anyways, should I do like an ASMR type thing? Okay, let's do this. Honestly, that's a little bit doughy. But I love crumble cookies. I just love cookies in general. This is so hectic right now. Okay, first of all, I'm trying to eat a piece of my cookie, but the flies are attracted to it. And now there's like 500 bugs swarming above my head. There are kids playing right in front of me. There's a fucking spider on my fucking skirt. Go. Shoo. Shoo. Everyone's trying to play a role here. Like, can we just take a chill pill and let me record this podcast? And it's really windy all of a sudden, and I think there might be a thunderstorm. This is literally take 4, 5, who knows at this point. I literally just had to turn on my camera again and record. Okay, now the wind has calmed down, so we're just gonna get through this, okay? Let's talk about my parents and like the relationship I have with them, because I know for a fact, statistics say, my analytics say, a lot of you guys came from my podcast episodes of me talking about moving out of a toxic household and just like me talking about trying to better my relationship with my parents and just all the things, trying to heal my inner child because of childhood trauma. I think all I can really say is that I am proud of myself and proud of my parents for us both stepping up to grow our relationship and have this bond that I never had with them before, because it does suck. It does suck knowing that eventually one day they're not going to be here anymore, and that's what I always think about. It's life, and that is something I literally cannot control. With this being said, and what I'm trying to get my point across is that when I was just with them for breakfast and talking with them, it was such a good feeling that I want to just have every time that I'm with them. Because don't get me wrong, like, there are times whenever I come over to their house, there would be a lot of yelling, there would be a lot of manipulating and gaslighting, and that's what it pretty much was. Like, there's literally like 5 kids in front of me, I'm sorry, but that was literally my whole childhood. And I don't really talk about the physical abuse as much as I do with the mental abuse, because I know there were countless amount of times where I would always get hit with a belt, get hit with a slipper, or just being slapped in the face, getting my hair pulled, getting random things thrown at me. Like, that wasn't the issue. The issue for me was all the words that were thrown at me. Like, I was nothing. Like, I was useless. I'm not crying yet. Don't want to cry, but like, it has come to a point where I've done a lot of inner work, inner healing, to really understand the grasp of I'm not the one to blame for this. There's kids behind me now. Can they just like play somewhere else? They literally see me here with a whole podcast setup. Now I forgot what I was saying. Great. I get so into the zone of just talking, and now literally brain fog. Okay, is this what it's like being in my mid-20s, is getting brain fog all the time? Should I tell them to like, hey, filming here, can you guys play somewhere else? Literally, they have the whole field. Let me get back to the mental abuse. Take fucking 1,000, because I had to stop my podcast for 20 minutes because the kids literally behind me were just playing Nerf War or whatever the fuck. I don't know what it is. When you just start taking care of yourself and doing the inner work, and I'm not talking about just like meditating, not the self-care shit, okay? Let's just put that to the side, because that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is doing the shadow work, asking yourself questions, very vulnerable questions of why you feel the way you feel, why you deserve less, why you think you're not worth it, and just like doing a lot of shadow work that involves you to be uncomfortable, and that's okay. This is what you have to do to start healing. Healing is not always going to be linear. Healing is not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. It's what you do that makes you think differently about yourself, and what makes you think differently in this world, in this lifetime, and just like the relationship you have with anyone to be better. You just have to get to the root of the cause. In order for you to move on, you need to do the healing. If I didn't do any of this and learning to forgive myself and learning to be more mature about the situation, you will never be able to move forward. You will never be able to accept yourself for what was and what is. As I'm getting older and rekindling this rekindling this lovely relationship with my parents, we need to get to a point where you want to say that you're done with how you've been thinking about where you guys were at. Because for me, even though that there was a lot of just damage, we just have to unlearn everything that was said to us. What was said, but that also probably came from them with their trauma response when that's how they were being treated. So they continued on that cycle to do the same thing to me. It's hard to not blame them, but then it all comes down to you. How am I going to treat this situation? Am I going to keep continuing this cycle, or actually let go of this generational trauma that I don't want my future kids to have to deal with? So it was just very wholesome to have that little breakfast date with them. They are so proud of me for just doing what I do now, which is just crazy, because doing all this filming stuff, like, being a content creator, this influencer life, I don't know what you want to call it, honestly, but I just love the art of filming. It's something I love to do. I love being behind the camera. I love being in front of the camera. I love just being creative in that way. And they're finally at a point where they are doing everything that they can to just help me pursue this passion of mine. Because when I used to live back home, the only thing that they wanted for me was to go back to school and do something in that career. But I literally dropped out 3 times, something like that. But I also did graduate as a unit clerk in the healthcare industry, and that was not my calling. It was literally just me trying to impress them and me trying to make them happy because that's what they wanted. If you keep showing up for yourself and proving them, you don't have to prove them wrong, but when they see that this is what you want and they are seeing it in their eyes that this is literal proof that I can make something out of this, then keep doing it, because there will be a time where they will eventually see that whatever you're doing, you are so happy and so fulfilled with it. And it's just weird to me because my parents posted pictures of me on Facebook and the caption was really long where it said something about they are proud of the accomplishments that I've done in this lifetime, and just as a content creator, they're so proud of me. When I read that, I was with my parents and my mom showed me that on her Facebook and I was like, influencer, why would you put influencer? And she's like, what? That's what you are. Be proud of that. What do you want me to put instead? And then I thought about it more and I'm like, okay, I guess this is my reality though. What I do is pretty much influencing people, and I don't know what it is. I think it's just the word influencer that has been used so many times where it's saturated to a point where being an influencer is cringy. And I mean, that's how I feel. But I think it's just really changed my perspective with just everything that my parents are doing for me now, because I love being around them. I love hanging out with them. I just want to always visit them when I can. And it just makes my heart so happy that, I am lucky to be able to still have them in my life without me fully kicking them out of my life, which was what I wanted. But that's when I was 16 or 17. The last thing I wanted was to be doing everything with them. And now here we are. I want to do as much as I can while they're still here. So that's that. I know it's hard in a lot of different circumstances with a lot of people that try to relate to this and you just can't, because your parents could be narcissistic and psychotic and they can't think straight. I get it. You have to do what is best for you. If you don't want any contact with them anymore, that is something that you have to decide for yourself. But if there is a chance that you think, wow, I think I still can have a relationship with them, it just takes time. That's all I'm going to tell you, is that it takes time. We're still trying to make it work, because I'm not there where I can just immediately say, I love you. I can't even give them a full-on hug yet. It takes time. And as embarrassing as it sounds, that's just where I am at this relationship with my parents right now. And when I used to see my friends hugging their parents or just having this strong bond with them, I would get jealous. But now it's you know what? I'm gonna get there one day. I'm gonna be able to repair this relationship that was once broken, because it's possible that I can make things work. So moving on, I'm really cold right now. I don't even have an extra jacket with me. Let's talk about goals and accomplishments and just knowing my self-worth. I'm still at a point in my life where I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, but it's not as bad. But I would have to say is that when people are being so nice to me, I can't comprehend to be this is too much. I don't want you doing this because this is too nice of you to do it. But then I have to realize they're being nice like this because they want to. They're doing these nice gestures because they want to. Obviously, that is just a part where it also stems from childhood trauma, because I was unwanted. No one ever wanted to hear my side of the story. I never got things that I wanted. Anyways, I'm still trying to figure out this whole self-love journey. And as much as I talk about it online with loving myself, I'm going to have times where I doubt myself, and it's okay. That's just how life is. But I want to get to a point where I think as I get older, a lot changes with your mindset and just how you view everything, because when you get older, you start giving less of a fuck. And that's what I'm trying to get at, okay? But talking about self-doubt, I'm going to have days where I doubt myself and not have days where I feel as confident as I should. I want to get to a point where I can say I want to be my fully confident self, where nothing matters in a good way. Nothing matters with what I do, because
I'm just living my life. I don't want to hold myself back for things that I want to say to people, because if I feel the way I feel and I want to say my truth or something, I want to be able to just say it without feeling the need of being scared. I just have to realize that also I'm 26. I feel like I've done nothing, where I've barely accomplished a lot of things, but I know that I have. And even if they're small accomplishments, they're still accomplishments, okay? I don't know why I put myself down for not seeing the bigger picture or like the bigger goals in life. And I think that's just also me comparing myself to a lot of things on social media. And I guess like the hardest part about this job and just like working online is that, you know, I have days where I do compare myself, but it's gotten so much better now because I realize like the people that I do follow, I want to be inspired by them. It's not jealousy or envy anymore. That used to be me when I was a few years into content creation, because I wasn't making a full-time income from it, and I was like, why am I not like them? Why am I not on the same path as them when I am literally doing the same thing as them? It just came down to a lot of self-sabotage that wasn't needed. Guys, I'm so cold. What's going on? Anyways, but I've just learned to love every second of everything that I do in my life, and putting these small wins into thinking they are big accomplishments, because they are. Let's just take a look back maybe 2 or 3 years ago to all the goals that I've accomplished. And this is just for me. I don't want to make this seem like that I'm bragging or anything, because I'm not. I'm just trying to think of things that I've accomplished that I should be proud of, that I never really took pride in. I started this whole content creation thing 6 or 7 years ago, and only about 2 years ago is when I just started making full-time income from it. And I still have other side hustles that I do besides just doing my own thing. But now that it's become a full-time thing for me, that is something I should be proud of. I'm always comparing myself, thinking why am I not on these brand trips? Why haven't I been traveling around the world like these influencers do? And you guys probably don't relate to this, because I'm pretty sure you guys are still in high school or college, or just working 9-to-5 job or whatever. But in some way you guys can relate. Let's say that you took a gap year and you're comparing yourself to people that are in college and thinking that you should find what you should already be doing for school. Something like that. For me, I'm so cold, guys. I'm actually freezing. If I had a jacket, I would be okay. I just compared myself a lot to just people on social media and thinking that I'm not on the same timeline as them. That's what I'm trying to say. But here we are. This is all just starting out for me. This is literally just the beginning. Not even the beginning. There's just so much to still experience, still so much to go further into this journey of mine that I haven't experienced yet. So I guess it all just started when I moved out of my parents' house. And this is kind of when I guess everything went uphill for me, because I moved out, literally saved up a bunch of money so I could finally move the frick out of my parents' house. And that at the time, I had such a horrible relationship with them. This is when everything went uphill for me, because I dedicated literally my whole entire time to just content creation and doing the thing that I'm most passionate about. There are so many times where I have been burnt out, but that's because I just put myself into a spot where I was being too heavy on my masculine side and grinding so much and thinking that being productive was the key to success. And sometimes not being productive at all is also productive. One thing that I'm proud of that I accomplished was moving out. Second, I was able to switch out my very old car with a new car, and that is now my 2018 Honda Civic. I share it with Brayden, but he barely drives it and I drive it all the time. So it's like my baby. Also, just being confident within myself and just knowing who the fuck I am. 16-year-old me would be so proud of who she sees right in front of her if she was facing me right now. I just have a special place in my heart for that younger version of myself, because she was so hurt. She didn't know any better. She was going through so much that I wish she had that knowledge to tell herself she was going to be okay, and that she was loved, and that good things were coming. Oh my gosh, I told myself today that I would eventually cry. And here we are crying for the 5th time. Or tearing up, I guess. I don't know. It's just been a little emotional because so much growth has happened within myself that I need to just realize I'm doing the best I can. And I may not be where I want to be. And that's the thing, is that I just put myself down when I don't accomplish those goals soon. But I'm doing amazing. I'm living the life that I used to wish for. And having supportive people in my life, I would have never thought that would ever happen. Braden's been with me through thick and thin. He's been with me through it all. But he's also given me the time to just really know who the fuck I am too, and gives me encouragement that this too shall pass with my little depressive episodes and just like what I went through. Today's just been emotional because it just like hit me knowing that I'm so close but not so close. I'm 4 years away to being 30, and being 30 is kind of a scary feeling. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I just need to be proud of myself. And there's just so much more growth to come. Lots of new opportunities for myself. I'm always grateful every single fucking day of my life. Every day I tell myself I'm grateful. I think it's just so powerful to know that when you're grateful, a lot of good things come to you. I'm sorry if I'm like rambling on and I don't know what I'm talking about, or you're questioning what is she going on about. I think I'm gonna end it here though, because I don't want to get too emotional, but all I can really say is that I'm so blessed to live another year on this earth. I'm so grateful for the people that I have met in my life or are in my life, no matter how wrong they did me, or it could be the opposite. It goes both ways. Like, every person you meet is going to be someone that is going to give you a lesson to be learned, or bittersweet moments of maybe that person wasn't supposed to be in your life, or maybe shit happens as well. Like, as you get older, you're not going to be friends with everybody that you meet. You're not going to be best friends with who you thought your childhood best friend was forever or in your life. That's just how it is with life. And I've just been learning so much about myself and what it really comes down to when we are living here on this earth. I think I might end this podcast episode soon. I know I want to keep talking, but there's something going on, and my boyfriend told me to be home by 5:45. What time is it? It is 5:35. But if you guys enjoy these little outdoor podcast episodes, please let me know. I wish I kept this podcast episode that I made 1 year ago today and posted it, but I deleted it because I thought it was just not good enough. Now I just want to keep doing these podcast episodes outside because it feels so freeing. It feels so good. Like, I love this type of vibe. Before I peace out, I just want to say, go treat yourself because you deserve it. Whether it's you buying yourself a cookie, because I bought myself 2 cookies, treating yourself by getting your nails done, buying yourself flowers, do whatever it is that's going to make you happy and will fulfill you. Go outside, go for a hot girl walk, whatever it is. Go listen to a podcast that's motivational and something you need to boost you, to give you that inspiration and get back up on your feet again. I'm feeling good now. I took a few hours out of my day to spend the day outside and hang out with Mother Nature, ground myself. Let me know what you guys think of this podcast episode. I'm hoping the wind didn't catch on to this mic. That would be really annoying. But other than that, make sure you guys follow me on all my social media platforms and give my podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, a 5-star rating. It would really, 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 really help the show, and for just newcomers to find my podcast and maybe it relates to them in some way. It'd be cool to keep growing this podcast. This is something that I want to keep pursuing. Anyways, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next podcast episode.